Our comments have exploded through the roof. So there you go.
Well, good afternoon, Lancaster. This is Lancaster Connects. It is Monday, August 10th, 2026. We are much more than halfway through the year, which feels crazy to say. I think there's like 2 weeks of summer left for before the kids go back to school. They are not happy about that at all. Maybe they're tuning in their free time this afternoon.
Maybe.
Probably not. I don't know. They should be. And this is an episode to tune into. This is episode 259, and I'm here with Adam Zurn from Uncharted Lancaster. Adam, welcome back to the show.
Yeah, thanks. It's great to be here.
I should have looked. You were on like episode, I don't know, 10 or 15 or one of those early episodes, and you were only on for a short period of time. So we've always wanted to bring you back and have a dedicated show for Uncharted Lancaster. And I could see maybe doing this as a recurring theme show for us here at Lancaster Connects, because Adam uncovers all kinds of really neat, unique historical things in Lancaster County. We're going to dive into what Uncharted Lancaster is, why Adam does it, and what you can explore right here in Lancaster County. So again, welcome back.
Yeah, it's great. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. So as you noticed, Jeff is not here. Jeff is in Las Vegas at I guess we can kind of call it a trade show, not the industry trade show, but one of our buying groups is out there, and we have some software solutions from them, our point of sale system that's coming, and a new website that we're getting through them. And also there's some opportunities, some networking out there, some products to look at. So Jeff is out there pounding the pavement for Gardeners Mattress and More, which is a business that Jeff and I co-own together here at 830 Plaza Boulevard, Lancaster, right behind Park City Mall. We are in our 36th year of helping people wake up happy. And I bring that up because they are the sponsor of Lancaster Connects, and that's of course, the Lancaster Connects studio sits right here in the walls of Gardeners Mattress and More. Adam, before you leave, you should definitely take a nap out there. I'm not trying to sell you bed, but you should, just take advantage, sit in a lift chair, take a nap, whatever. Get a massage in a massage chair.
Sounds like a plan. I love it.
We're open until 7:00.
Okay.
All right. So getting that out of the way, I do have I'm going to combine. So I think we're going to have a ton of stuff to talk about, Adam. So many cool things in Lancaster County that you've uncharted for us. So I'm going to combine. Usually we do a mattress tip at the beginning and a sleep tip in the end. I'm going to kind of combine the two into one here in the beginning. I was away for a few days. Adam, you told me you were away for a few days. Maybe this could have been a helpful thing for you while you were away. Sometimes we can control the environment we sleep in, right? If it's our own house, you can make things as quiet as you'd like them to be. You can have a fan maybe for white noise. You can temperature control your environment, right? But sometimes when you go away, you might not be in control of those situations. Yeah. So I was away with family, which was fantastic. Shout out Mom and Dad McClure. They have a cabin about 2 hours north of here, and it's a great place. It's on a lake, beautiful setting. We had great weather, spent a day at Knoebels on Friday, and had Saturday, Sunday with the family there. But there's 16 people in a cabin.
Ooh, that's full house.
And for the most part, there's not many doors. It's just kind of open air with some what do you call them, like I want to say screens, but it's like
shutters.
Yeah, well, it's like fabric.
Oh, okay, just a little curtain.
Shades.
Like,
okay. You can for privacy shades, but they don't block the sound, right? So my sleep tip is, if you're traveling, it might be helpful to put some earplugs in your bag, because we did that, and I've started to do this now when we go away with family to the cabin, because it's loud. There's some snoring. There's some kids. There's some young kids turning on the TV in the morning at like 80 decibels. And earplugs go a long way to eliminating the noise and keep you in a deeper sleep for longer. I've found them essential. So if you're traveling, maybe some earplugs, maybe a sleep mask. I use a sleep mask most nights as well. these are some inexpensive, simple things that you can invest in to help your sleep. Sometimes it's not all just about a mattress. Obviously a mattress can help if the mattress is worn out or uncomfortable or whatnot. But there's other things that you can do to your environment to help you sleep better. And earplugs basically block out the environment when the environment can't be, silenced for you. So that's my sleep tip and mattress tip kind of combined into one here. I bring that up because we do have a book here called Sleep Better. Thank you, Chris, for putting that on the screen. It's a free book. Adam, you're welcome to take one with you if you'd like.
Yeah,
it's a book we have here at the store. You can come in and pick one up, or you can hop on our website, gardenersmattressandmore.com/sleep-better, and request a free copy. We'll mail it directly to you. A lot of helpful sleep tips and advice to help you get a better night's sleep. And again, we talk about mattresses a little bit in that book, but there's a lot of helpful sleep advice, things that you can do to the bedroom, things you can do to your sleep routine, wearing earplugs, stuff like that can help you get a better night's sleep. So that definitely helped me. I don't know if you took anything with you to help you sleep on your trip. Maybe you're in a place where you didn't have to block out the noise.
I should have, because the sun. It was there was a skylight and other things, and you kind of got up with the sun because it was bright.
Right.
It was bright. So maybe the sleep mask would have gone a long way.
Yeah, that's the thing. You're in a beautiful setting. I'm sure the room was great. The skylight was probably great, but then you're waking up with the sun.
I was like, I'm awake. Okay.
But on vacation, you're kind of like, maybe I want to sleep in a little bit. Maybe the sleep mask could have helped. Well, yeah. It's great helpful sleep tips and information there and Sleep Better. So, all right. Adam, I tasked you with a responsibility before this show started. And our producer, Chris, is going to put the wheel of discounts on the screen. This some discounts you can get at Gardener's Mattress and More this week. If you're a listener or watcher of Lancaster Connects, just come in, tell us you saw the wheel spin, and you can qualify for the prize that Adam is going to kick off the wheel for. So, Adam, when you're ready.
All right. Okay, folks, here, I'm going to try and get you a really good one. Here comes the big spin. Here we go. Spinning away.
Love it.
Come on. Big money.
No whammy, no
whammy. Oh, free sheet set.
Free sheet set. Hey, so that's free. Free is free. There's no purchase necessary for this. $69 value. So that's a set of sheets.
Love it.
Typically with a set of sheets, you're getting a pillowcase or two, top sheet and bottom sheet. So free sheet set. That's great. So
that's an awesome deal. Yeah. Get in here. Get in your free sheets.
Perfect.
Saw the spinning wheel.
Yep. Gardener's Mattress and More, 830 Plaza Boulevard. Just say you saw Adam spin the wheel on episode 259 on August 10th, right here on Lancaster Connects. You'll get a free set of sheets. That's
outstanding.
That's a good one. Love it.
I love it. Good.
Love it. All right. Adam, we're not going to have any fun at all. I can tell. So if somebody hadn't seen your first episode, like 5 years ago, and might not know who Uncharted Lancaster is and who Adam Zurn is, why don't you tell us a little about who you are and what Uncharted Lancaster is?
Thanks for having me. My name's Adam Zurn, and I run Uncharted Lancaster, and that's this it's a platform where I sort of do two things, and one is just highlight fascinating pieces of local history. So things that I find interesting, untold stories or stories that deserve more attention, and pieces like that. And then the other piece of Uncharted Lancaster is sort of this adventure component. And I think it has a lot to do with growing up in the 1980s, watching Raiders and Goonies and Romancing the Stone. And and so I love the idea of buried treasure. And so for the past 6 years, I've run an annual treasure hunt, and it's often like a multi-week event, and I've given away over $16,000 to some really clever teams, really clever teams, while also raising some money for some local nonprofits like the Historic Preservation Trust of Lancaster County. So kind of a way for me to give back from some of the success that I've had with Uncharted Lancaster.
Yeah. So you mentioned a few of the movies that kind of got you interested in history. Were you always interested in history? Was it kind of movies, or was it like school classes, or like what was kind of the trigger for you to get?
Good question. So my parents were both teachers.
Pull this.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
My parents were both teachers, and so we spent lots of summers. Well, really every summer traveling in all kinds of places. And, as a teenager, you hate it. You just like,
getting in the car again,
and just seeing like some old house that someone famous lived in, or
Right.
died
You're
in,
like,
or
okay.
visited. You just,
I want to go on the roller coaster.
Yeah. Like where's, and trips back then are different. It's only younger viewers don't know. Like there's no
true.
iPhones or internet. You're just
That's true.
like playing Finger Ninja on the window as you're driving along. But years later, though, looking back on it, I'm like, oh, I was there, and those segments of your past start to come together and give you some real appreciation for it. For me, like I kind of got started with Uncharted Lancaster about 10 years ago. I have a dog, and I walk pretty much every day after work. And I was saying that a good dog is a tired dog, and so it's important to get out and burn off some energy. Yep. And I live down in Conestoga Township near the Enola low grade. And so,
perfect.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Pretty quiet typically. And so we walk on the rail trail almost every day. And if it's hot, like it is today, we would duck down into Shanks Ferry so the dog could get in the creek there. And we're just talking dogs and dog walking with a coworker and saying where I'm doing it. And so she asked me this question that really kind of changes my life forever. And she says, have you ever been to the cemetery in Shanks Ferry? And I was like, no, what about it? She goes, well, there's a cemetery there. Tombstones date back to the 1700s.
Okay.
A lot of them are in German. And I was like, that's amazing. Where exactly is it?
Right. Because you wouldn't know about it otherwise.
Right. I had no idea. No idea. And I was like, well, where is it exactly? Yeah. That's one of the,
that's a highway
marker there. Yep. And the cemetery is eventually called Benedict Eshelman Cemetery.
Okay.
But I was like, well, where is it? And she says, you know what? I don't remember. I was there like 20 years ago. And I was like, oh.
But it's stuck in her mind.
Stuck in her mind. It made this impression. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll just turn to my good friend Google and ask Google, hey, where is this thing? And this is kind of a recurring theme for me with Uncharted Lancaster. And that is the internet had no idea. Like Find a Grave was like, go here. And I went there and there's no cemetery. Okay. So I start crisscrossing through Shanks Ferry looking for this.
Now you're on a mission.
Yeah. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to find this. How hard can it be? Like Shanks Ferry's 92 acres. Like it's just a matter of time. I'm just going to grid pattern this thing. It's a dog. Yeah. It's a dog.
Did you write it out? Like,
well, not quite that much, but I was like, all right. Well, cause like I eventually found an old newspaper article from like 1979. I was like, well, you cross the stream and go over the railroad tracks and it's on the hill. And I was like, all right, I'll cross the stream and I'll cross some railroad tracks. And and there's the picture of the cemetery and the woods in modern times. And so when I'm not physically searching, like I'm doing research online about Shanks Ferry, and I discovered there was a dynamite factory there that blew up in 1906 and killed 11 people.
Oh, wow.
Injured 9. It's still the worst accident in Lancaster County history.
Wow.
Which is a terrible tragedy, obviously, but also maybe a good thing that there hasn't been anything bad
bigger
since.
Than that,
there's like a mysterious stone pillar in the middle of the creek there. And why is that there? And there's lime furnaces. And you Google it enough time and the Shanks Ferry people come up who made petroglyphs. And it's just all kinds of amazing history. It really a relatively small area. So I eventually do find the cemetery, and we saw some photos there a minute ago. And that was, I learned a lot, had a neat experience. And I thought maybe other people would like to have a similar experience, learn about these things, maybe have their own little scavenger hunt kind of looking for it. So I kind of wrote it down and made it into a scavenger hunt. And the response was really positive. People responded well to it. And a little bit like a hydra, like every time I researched something, like 2 more things came up that I should look into. And it's just sort of been growing since then as I kind of explore and research these, interesting things that we have here in Lancaster County.
Now, did you grow up in Lancaster County?
No, so I'm a transplant. I've been here since the 90s to go to Millersville University.
All right. And when were you there?
I started in 97. I graduated. I have like 3 degrees from Millersville. I graduated at the first time, I think in 2001, a few more times.
We probably crossed paths because I was there from 96 to 2000.
Okay. Oh, for sure.
And
yes. What was your major? I was a tech ed major.
Music education. So we were on opposite ends of the
we
school.
Might have been a Gordon at the same time.
Probably. Yeah. I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
All right.
I'm sure. Or E-Quartz or, any of the Brookwood. Any of the places.
Sugar Bowl.
You would have definitely found me at the Sugar Bowl.
Yeah.
Or at least eating one in my dorm room that was delivered from the Sugar Bowl. The Sugar Bowl bowlie, sauce and onions. It's the be all end all of Strombolis.
Today's episode is brought to you by the Sugar Bowl in Millersville.
We'll be waiting for the check. So yeah, that's cool. So where's home for you?
Susquehanna County, almost New York State.
Okay, wow.
And I think it's neat because the Susquehanna, I don't live far from the Susquehanna River there, and it's small. It's like the size of the Conestoga here. So I think it's always neat to do that. And I think we often take our local history for granted. You know, we both talked before the show about going on vacation, and we often go to faraway places to learn the neat history there, and we just not because we dislike it, we just take it for granted.
You forget that there's history right underneath.
So I think if I had lived here my whole life, I might not have cared as much or thought as much about
I could see that
being a transplant. Just like, why is that called Second Lock Road? And what's up with this Bridgeport name? Like, what does that mean?
Right.
And all of that. And so this kind of gave me that newfound appreciation. And then I got busy. We talked a little bit about the COVID time, and you kind of started the show around then. And there wasn't much to do other than just sort of go out and explore. And a lot of people like, oh, wow, there are places that I can visit right here because I can't travel.
Right. So what was it about Lancaster that caused you to stay versus going home?
Well, I met my wife. So
That'll do it.
And I got a job, and I'm a high school teacher at Lampeter Strasburg.
Okay.
Tech ed. So I started in the wood shop, 25 years ago. And now I teach computer programming and videography. So a little bit of a old dog learning new tricks there, but
that's awesome. So Uncharted Lancaster is kind of like something you started doing in your free time.
Yeah. In my free time.
Still do.
And I still do. So, you know, as a teacher, you talked about going back to school. I'm back at it on Monday with in-service. The kids will be there shortly after. So yeah, a lot of summer stuff and weekends and evenings, but yeah, it's a fun thing that fills my bucket.
So cool. You talked about how Uncharted Lancaster started. Can you explain more about what it is and how people can get involved? And like you talked about the scavenger hunt. I'd like to know more about that, and other things that they can do with Uncharted Lancaster.
Yeah, so they can find me online on Instagram, Facebook, in Real Books. And so I typically publish lots of articles just kind of highlighting different pieces of local history. They had some of the website up there a few minutes ago with some of the, you can see at the top, there's some of the books that I've published. You're doing some research on your own. Yes. And then writing about your experiences while doing it and what you're finding, and then you publish that. Yeah. So if it scrolls down a little bit, you'll see just some of the articles that I've written. Yep. So just whatever I'm kind of researching at the time, and the comment I get from a lot of folks is it's usually pretty easy to digest and approachable. Yep. So some stuff for people to read and interact with. Sometimes if it's a place you can visit, I'll talk about where it is in addition to that. So, hey, you should go and check this place out and kind of interact with that history. I have a few like scavenger hunts. It's kind of like geocaching, but better, I remember geocaching. Yeah. So you can go somewhere and you hike down the trail a bit and just take a few steps off the trail, and you find a little tree as a box with plastic 3D printed tokens or something. Right. And I get comments from people like, no, my kid complains about walking to the mailbox to get the mail, but we hiked 3 miles today to find a plastic gold coin, and they never complained once. So just yes, score. All right, mission complete. And so I give tours as well. I just did one on Sunday. I take something, people on something I call the tunnels of Enola. So we've got the Enola low grade. A lot of people assume that it's in Enola, but it's right here in Lancaster County. Yeah. And we just kind of zigzag through a variety of these culverts that go beneath the railroad, and it's pretty neat to see the awesome stone work and brickwork that's there for people to interact with. So it's a great experience. We'll probably talk some more about it later, but I take people out to see the petroglyphs on the Susquehanna River. So we kayak out there, and I have a trip tomorrow, as a matter of fact, of two this week, and then one more the week after that. Well, let's if it's okay, let's talk about that now. Yeah. What's a petroglyph? Okay, great. That's a good question. I mean, I think I know. Yeah. So just for the listeners at home. Definitely for the listeners. All right. So again, like I said, I'm a school teacher. So here's your vocabulary lesson of the day. Yeah. So a petroglyph is a carving made in rock. Okay. All right. So now these in question are somewhere between 800 and 1200 years old. I usually just split the difference and call it 1,000. Yeah. And they're using river cobble, 2 pieces, and they're just going to, hit one on the other, and they will kind of peck into the rock various carvings. And so they're different than It's not a written language. There's a great one. That's Little Indian Rock that you can see there. And it's hard to get some scale, but that squiggly line in the bottom right-hand corner is a serpent, and it's probably 4 feet long.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Inch and a half wide. And experimental archaeology has estimated that it would take about 20 minutes to make like a dime-sized impression in the rock.
And that's 4 feet long.
That's like 4 feet long.
Okay.
And you can kind of see all the little dimples in it as they kind of peck that out. And you can see birds like the thunderbirds. We can see deer prints. There's a deer print. There's turkey tracks, all kinds of animal tracks and the animal figures. There's 2 footprints. We can see a footprint there of some toes, which is pretty neat, kind of overlaid like with a dancing person as well. And so just this amazing spot. So these are being made by, they don't have any iron tools or stone, just stone rocks that they're chipping away at them. And it's easy. A lot of people look at it as like, okay, yes, they're old, but like, these people didn't have the wheel or really a written language. Like maybe it's just like graffiti. What does a bored Native American teenager do 1,000 years ago?
Right. True.
Yeah. There's no internet.
Bang rocks against each other.
Yeah. I have a 7-year-old son, so I could see like, hey, why don't you go out in the middle of the river and just pound on a rock for a while? Because otherwise I'm just going to feed you to a bear. But like, because of the investment in time, like these are really important and really mean something. So that single squiggly line that I was just talking about, the tail lines up with the winter solstice sunrise.
Okay. So it had a purpose.
Has a purpose. And then it's not visible in that picture, but at a different angle, there are 2 squiggly lines, and again, representing serpents. And on the equinox sunrise, the sun rises right between those 2 tails.
Wow.
So, I mean, these are being made by a people that are completely in tune with, the world around them, so they know where the sun, so again, they're marking these important dates. At a different rock out there's one that lines up with the summer solstice sunrise. So you're able to mark, all right, it's hey, it's the shortest day of the year. We've made it, winter's going to start getting better. It's spring, time to plant. It's fall, time to harvest.
Wow.
And all these things. So it's in a really amazing place that you can go and you can visit, and you can only do it by boat. So you have to kayak out, or a small little boat. You wouldn't want to take your fiberglass fishing boat. It's incredibly rocky.
Okay. Yeah.
And the water levels kind of go up and down all day. So sometimes there's a rock there, and sometimes it's not.
Sometimes it's underwater.
It's underwater. You just don't know.
Yep.
So we take people out when we are headed out. That's Little Indian Rock there. Kayaking now, and it's this neat place in Lancaster County. And we can see like a footprint there. The Thunderbird. There's actually 2 footprints kind of overlaid with looks like a dancing person there. And you go there, and we know for a fact people stood there. And when you look west towards York County, it's still forested. There's no power lines. There's no houses. There's no railroad right there.
Right.
And I think it's cool because you're seeing what they saw 1,000 years ago. So like in this moment, like you're completely connected to the people that made these carvings all these years ago. So it's a really amazing and magical place to visit.
Now, how were these discovered? Like, have people known about these for a long time, or are you just kind of bringing light to these now? Or
so we knew about them, and then we lost them, and then they were kind of rediscovered. So if you go back and read, I think it's Evan and Ellis's bibliographical annals of Lancaster County. It's a mouthful. They talk about them in there. That's from 1883.
Okay.
And if you go out there, there's some modern graffiti, which is definitely a no-no and frowned upon, but there hasn't been any new stuff since I think the 80s, early 80s. But there's a carving on there from 1838. So like obviously someone in 1838 knew about it. Yeah. So there was a huge archaeological push in the late 20s as they were preparing to build Safe Harbor Dam. And this is just downriver from them. So state archaeologists down on Cadzow came out, and they made plaster molds and detailed drawings and all of that. And then we kind of lost them. So the thought was that they were actually submerged then when the dam was completed. And it wasn't until like the early 1980s when Paul Nevin, who's now executive director at Indian Steps Museum, sort of rediscovered them. He had kind of reached out to the state and said, where were they? They said, well, they're underwater, but this is kind of the general area. And he just went out in his little boat just to kind of, not expecting to find them, but just to sort of see what that would look like, or and then there's rocks here. The petroglyphs are actually still here.
Cool.
So he kind of, I would say, credit him with like rediscovering.
Yep.
He's been bringing some attention, and I like to take people out, and I've read a lot about them and talk on them.
That's cool.
Quite a bit, and it's a neat spot, and it can be hard to find because you get out there and the rocks all look the same. You're like, oh
yeah, I can imagine. And it's not the Susquehanna is like this tiny little river.
Yeah, it's like a mile wide
pretty
there.
Big.
So you're just like, oh,
it's pretty big. So I love that you're giving people an opportunity to experience something like this, because I didn't grow up here, same as you. I came here from Millersville and stayed in the area.
Left,
and grew roots here. And I until you were on our radar, I didn't know anything like that would exist. So if somebody wanted to do the kayak tour with you, how would they do that?
Yeah, they can go to my website and they can click the petroglyph tour tab. And I do private charters out. It's a little expensive. It's just a lot of work to get the equipment. And get But I team up with Kayak Lanco, which is an awesome kayaking outfitter.
That's cool.
Organization. And you just have to show up. Like she'll bring the kayaks and the life jackets and everything you could possibly need. And then we'll guide a tour out, and she comes out as well. So we're like the Marines; we don't leave anyone behind. So everyone's getting back.
And that's the website right there.
That's the website. Yeah. So just go to Uncharted Lancaster / I think it's Petroglyph Tours, and they can book a trip. The season will end like mid-October. It just the water gets cold, and no one wants to fall in Susquehanna when it's cold.
I wouldn't.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. And then we'll start up again like mid-May or so, late May, depending on the river and the weathers.
I got to imagine that's one of the more one of the tours that you do, or one of the experiences on Uncharted Lancaster that's more popular with people. Yeah,
it sells out. I mean, we only do like 7 or 8 group tours a year. They sell out very quickly because there's 6 rocks in Safe Harbor that have petroglyphs on them. The 2 outstanding ones are Little Indian Rock and Big Indian Rock. We go to them both. But this represents one of the largest concentrations of petroglyphs in the Northeastern United States. It's the second. It's tied number 2, excuse me. And then Little Indian Rock, which lots of pictures of Little Indian Rock there, has the best panel of rock art east of the Mississippi River.
Okay.
So you would, to see anything as good or better, you'd have to travel to the Southwest United States. And they're very different there. Like they've just sort of chipped the patina off the rock.
Okay.
They're very fragile there. They don't like to talk about where they are. These are hardy rocks. I mean, like the river washes over them in the winter. Like there's a log out there right now that wasn't there last year. Like the river, ice rolls over it. So this is an incredibly hard rock.
Yeah.
So it's very hard. And we people are asked, they take your shoes off when you go out, and we practice appropriate practices for interacting with
and can people take pictures?
Yeah, absolutely. People take pictures.
Yeah, that's cool.
We take sponges, and you just kind of wipe the damp sponge on the rock with the goal of just kind of wetting the raised areas and leaving the carved areas dry, and the image really pops. Otherwise, you can also go out like early in the morning or late in the afternoon, and the way the shadows hit them, you can really see the carvings very well.
Yeah. So of course, petroglyphs. You talked about Safe Harbor. What are some other Uncharted Lancaster experiences?
So I do, like I said, there's the tunnel tour that's incredibly popular. I try and do that like once a month until we get to winter and it's a little too cold. Yeah. I do a lot of speaking, local libraries and historical societies talking about the petroglyph topic is really popular. I do some ghost stories. I love a good ghost story here. And we've got. Can
you tell one now?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see here. I'll think of a really good one. I always love ones that there's like the ghost story, and then I love researching, like, is there any truth to the tale?
Okay, right.
Often, no. It's just like the classic story to it.
We had Bobby's Brewery on
a
few months ago, and I know they have some stories, some ghost stories.
So there's one outside of Strasburg. I think it's called Hell's Funnel. Where the name came from, I'm not sure, but the abbreviated and family-friendly version is this poor miller kind of gets tangled up in the machinery and loses an arm, and he goes over to the house to his wife, but she can't stop the bleeding, and he dies.
Oh no.
And then she eventually ends her life and her sadness, and his spirit forever like haunts the mill even today. That's the very abbreviated version.
Sure.
So I was like, wow, that's pretty tragic. And so I I look it up. The newspaper archives is great. LNP has every issue ever databased and text searchable. So you
dug into the archives,
dug into it.
Yep.
And Miller did die there. It wasn't all that uncommon, like the whip machines, going around. Flowy clothes, and he died in the machinery. It was much more gruesome, actually, the reality of the story than like sort of the urban legend of it, which I thought it was. His wife, obviously eventually passed away of old age, but I thought the true story was actually, I was like, oh, that's so much more grotesque and terrible than whatever. But Hell's Funnel, like back in the day, kids would, we drive out there. We would park on the little bridge, and sometimes you'd see lights in the mill or all kinds of the fun stuff there. So it's a private residence today, and people live there. No report of ghosts, as far as I know. But
gotcha. I love that you like you said, you're a transplant into the community, and you didn't grow up with these urban legends.
No, not
and you didn't know there were petroglyphs when you came to Millersville University. You discovered it later in life. So I think that's a cool thing for. A cool lesson for all of us. Like, never too late to learn.
Absolutely not.
And never too late to experience something new. And you have a 17-year-old. I also have a 17-year-old and a 12-year-old. And I'm thinking they would find this stuff cool. I bet they have no clue, that there's petroglyphs.
I've taken whole families out there, and it's a neat. Like, just say, hey, wow, like Native Americans made this a long time ago. And with things like that, I do some children's activities with them, talking about the petroglyphs. And I have, I always, again, being a technology teacher, I love kind of integrating new technology with that. And I've taken pictures of them and then used my laser cutter to engrave copies of the petroglyphs onto like stone pavers. And then I can take them to like the children's events, and they can do things that you're not really allowed to do, the real ones. Like you can make, you can chalk a rubbing or make a crayon rubbing on them, but another activity they do is, I'm like, what message would you leave for people 1,000 years in the future? Like what? Obviously this is important. This is really important to these people. They're marking the summer
solstice.
A cool idea. Like what would you tell people? And I said, we can't, unfortunately, for the most part, really read those petroglyphs. Like, it's not hieroglyphics that you can, like, I think they read top to bottom.
Right.
They're the best example or analogy that I've heard is, think of them as an emoji.
Okay. Right.
So, and I even tell people, go out there and said, all right, you see a red octagon today. What does that mean? It means stop. Right. We all know that. Right. Well, people 1,000 years from now know that a red octagon means stop. Like, it's just this, we've just agreed that red octagon means stop. So, and then again, with emojis, you put a skull, like, oh, that's death. That's bad. You put that next to a tear, and it's like, oh, I was laughing to death. Like, it totally changes the meaning. So same thing with these carvings, like one carving, you can look at it and say, yeah, that's definitely a turkey track, or that's definitely the silhouette of a deer. But then next to another one, likely to some other carving, changes the meaning of that carving. And so we can't read a lot of them. Like, we can definitely just look at it and say, oh, I know what that symbol is, or what it just looks like in general, but like, there isn't like a story for most of it, just lost on us today.
That makes sense.
Probably like a lot of the things your 17-year-old says to you. I don't know. Mine says things to me, and I'm just like, sorry, I don't have the closed caption.
That's true.
Like, what does any of that mean?
I think it's more the 12-year-old. They have a different language for sure.
Yeah. Sure.
I only know bits and pieces of it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just like, what?
So you have presentations you give around the community. You've also brought a couple books. Can you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, sure. So I've got one that's really popular. I published this in the fall, is my field guide to the strange, storied, and hidden places of Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. And it really just took a lot of the blog posts that I've written about places that you can visit, and these are all basically accessible, and just sort of told the story of them, some fun pictures, and again, where are they, and where can you go and visit. So at one time, Lancaster County had over 300 mills along every creek that you could imagine. Because it was before electricity, that's where the power was. The water is the power. So we can mill corn and grain and all kinds of things like that. And so there's only about 50 of those buildings left in the county today, but only 2 are fully functional, which is really, really neat. And every year, the Historic Preservation Trust opens the Bowmansville Roller Mill up almost out of the county there. It's near the turnpike.
Yep.
And it is the only combination mill left in Lancaster County. So it's got the classic grist mill. So these two stones and you turn. And again, so many words we use, like keep your nose to the grindstone. Like this is
where does that come from?
It comes from this.
Yep.
And so you've got to keep the right distance between the stones. If the stones get too close, they get hot.
Oh.
And again, fun fact, any place you go and they're milling, they're only ever going to mill corn.
Yeah.
Corn won't explode.
Oh.
So like maybe you've heard of like a dust explosion. So like flour, if it's fine enough and the air is dry enough and you get a spark, that will ignite.
Wow.
And bad things will happen.
Yeah.
So that keep your nose to the grindstone is you be down there and paying attention and you can smell like the heat.
That's
and if it's getting hot, your mill might blow up. So you don't want that to happen.
Yeah, that's only something you find out trial and error initially.
So
you figure it out.
You can see here's some pictures inside the roller mill. We can see the stones there.
Okay.
We bring up the miller from George Washington's Mount Vernon mill, and they come up. They're great to interact with. They're amazing guys.
Oh, wow.
They know so much, and they operate the mill for the day. And we have hundreds of people come through. It's free. They can buy or by donation some milled corn to make some corn muffins.
Yeah.
And then it's also a roller mill. That's the roller mill there.
Okay.
And that's a slightly newer technology, like 1880s.
Gotcha.
Newer. And the corn or the whatever you had would go through 4 sets of rollers, and they get closer and to get more finer of a piece there. And so it's really neat. And again, the miller died there as well. Incredibly dangerous operation.
I can imagine.
I'm not a nervous person. I get a little nervous there. We have a lot of distance. Yeah. I feel like what I'm wearing is okay. We have like a lot of Amish come through.
Oh yeah.
It's and there's just a lot of flowing dresses. And this is not like an OSHA place where things are behind plexiglass.
Right.
There's turning gears and stuff. And I'm always just like, oh, I hope everyone leaves with all their appendage is still attached.
What's the other book?
Oh, the other book. Yeah, thanks. So the other book is in celebration of Capitol Day, Lancaster and the Revolution. And just one of those amazing things. Lancaster was the nation's capital for one day. And I sort of just tell that story. I mean, most people, if they're familiar with Lancaster County history, know, Congress was here on September 27th. 1777. They spent the day and left. But there was, a lot of events kind of leading up to that moment, starting in July of that same year when Lord Howe leaves New York City on ship, and he wants to take Philadelphia. Like, this is like the heart of the treasonous, rebellion. And I want to go there and get the folks that have caused problems, and all of that. And so initially wants to go up the Delaware River, but the Americans have fortified the Delaware River. They've got spikes underwater and they've got fire ships, and they're not going to let them go through. And so Howell ends up going further down and sails up into the Chesapeake and eventually lands at Elkton, Maryland. At the time it was called Head of Elk, and starts this overland march to Brand, and eventually the big Battle of Brandywine, which is the largest battle of the Revolutionary War in the terms of men involved. It doesn't go very well for Washington, and ultimately Congress has to flee, and it's so much more than just the Continental Congress leaving Philadelphia. We've got to get all the papers out, and so they're already so that they'd already been sending the papers out in advance, and even John Adams, who's going to become eventually second president of the United States, writes that the papers were more important than the men, which seems like, what, really? Like, you think about the men who were in Congress at the time, but he's like, this is the, all of our laws and who we owe money to and who owes us money, and like correspondence of spies and they
didn't have that stuff saved on like floppy disks or something.
So it's all on these papers. So we've got to get them out of the city. And so they send them to Lancaster.
Wow.
And then one of those moments, like, history's so different as an adult than as a kid. Like, and then we got to get all the bells out of the city. We got to save the Liberty Bell, right? And we send it. They send it. It hides out in Allentown. And I'm like, I remember like in 5th grade, the Liberty Bell, it's a symbol of freedom, and we got to save it. And like, then I find out as an adult, I'm like, well, yeah, because the British would just like melt it down and turn it into munitions to shoot back at. I'm like, oh, okay, it has nothing to do with being a symbol of freedom. It's just they're going to use the metal for something else.
That's
like,
funny.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. So yeah, still a good reason, but just so less maybe exciting. That's the reason I had in my head as a kid.
So this book, Capitol Day, tells that whole story?
That was the whole story of, basically starting with Howe leaving New York and then Congress coming to Lancaster, and then what they did for the day. And it looks kind of boring. Like at a first glance, like they open the session, they read some letters. They basically said, all right, the Board of War will deal with that, and these guys will deal with this. And then they decide Lancaster's probably too close to Philadelphia, and they go to York, where they spend the next 9 months. But they read a letter from Thomas Conway, and he's complaining. He's a Frenchman, and he's complaining that he's not being promoted as fast as some of the other guys. And a couple months later, Conway will be involved in what's called the Conway Cabal, this loosely organized thing to overthrow George Washington as commander in chief, because he'd been having not a great run of luck at the moment.
Sure. And
so that you kind of see those seeds sort of being planted then. George Washington sends a letter that's a couple days old, because again, mail moves slow back then. And he's talking, so Brandywine has happened, and he's kind of in between that and the fall of Philadelphia. Yeah. And he's like, so it rained last night, and we lost like 11,000 rounds of ammunition in the rain because the black powder got wet. Oh. And I have 1,000 men with no shoes. And like, it's none of it's good. Like it's a dire picture. So the Congress is like, all right, we gotta deal with this. And so basically they start talking about passing these confiscation laws. And so where are we gonna get shoes for Washington and the ammunition? Yeah. Washington's like, I need blankets, and I need all this supplies. So if you weren't a patriot, they were just gonna take your stuff.
Wow.
So if you're a loyalist, which about a third of the population is, or if you're just kind of undecided, like we're taking your things, because we're taking your shoes, we're taking your gun, we're taking your blankets and anything else. So, I think that's a thing people don't think a lot about.
Right.
We're involved with that. We just think like, oh yeah, there are people making those things. So we just took it from people who weren't
interesting.
Patriot
Didn't know that at all.
Yeah. So, it tells the story of all of that happening, and documents talks about the people that were there. And again, people, it's not a big deal, but like at the time, Lancaster was the third capital of the United States. Like there's only Philadelphia and Baltimore before that. And Lancaster is in this very exclusive club. There's only ever been 9 capitals of the United States. There'll probably never be any more than that. And so it's a fun little club to be in.
And how much of that story did you know coming to Lancaster?
None. I would say none. I don't think I even knew Lancaster had ever been the capital of the United States.
And what drove you to write the book?
So about 2 or 3 years ago, Lancaster History was celebrating Capitol Day, and fun little event, and they had some reenactors there, and they asked me to do a 5-minute history of the day. So I did a quick little 5-minute presentation, and that really kind of became the kernel of that book, and just sort of telling more of that story.
So this book essentially didn't exist before. Like nobody had written the book on.
Yeah, there's no other books that I'm aware of on the topic. I mean, there's various chapters talking about Lancaster's contributions and the men were there, and but this is definitely kind of
this is the book.
Yeah, the definitive guide to Capitol Day.
So cool. I love it. And so both this Capitol Day book and the Uncharted Lancaster book, they can get on the Uncharted Lancaster website.
Yep. And it's available on Amazon. You can search my name, Adam Zurn or Uncharted Lancaster. Yeah.
Can I walk into Barnes and Noble and find it?
No, not yet. I'm working on it. Yeah. Not yet. Yeah.
After this episode.
Yeah. After this episode.
Barnes and Noble, if you're listening.
Yeah. Hey, don't forget to use that promo code and get those free sheets, Barnes and Noble.
That's right. So you mentioned the Historic Preservation of Lancaster County.
Historic Preservation Trust of Lancaster County. That's a mouthful.
So we recently had on Danielle Kepperlin,
executive director,
and we had Benton Weber.
Yeah, and I think Eric Schubert. Yeah, because he's on the board.
We got that's the trifecta, I guess, and you're on it as well.
Yeah, I'm on the board. Yeah.
Why are you part of that? Makes sense that you're part of that. And what are some of the things that you do with your board position there? Yeah,
we advocate for the historic preservation of historic properties, and I think we came about in the 1960s. We started in 1966, and I'm sure Danielle talked about that a bit. But basically, during this age of urban renewal in Lancaster, like, hey, we got to tear down these pretty buildings and put up some parking lots, because
Yes.
people are going to go to the mall, and not down here. Just,
Yeah.
like little did we know what Amazon, was coming and stuff.
Yeah.
But, and so, they've been active ever since then, and just trying to preserve those buildings. Like that Bowmansville roller mill, we have an easement on that property.
Oh, okay.
And we ensure that it'll stay
a mill.
that, and part of the easement and requires that it's open 4 days a year and to the public, so
Wow.
they can interact with that history bit. So that's, we just make sure the building, we're constantly monitoring that building.
Yep.
And lots of others throughout the county. One of the fights we're gearing up for is the county prison.
Okay, I know a little bit about it, maybe, but
Yeah, so there's a new prison coming someday. The date that I feel like they keep kicking the can down the street. But
in the same area,
it'll be outside the city.
Okay,
kind of on 272 coming up from Willow Street. It'll be on the
gotcha.
down on the peninsula there.
Yeah.
And so again, that's still years away. So a couple months ago, there was an article in the newspaper, and they'd had a meeting trying to get citizens and other stakeholders involved and talking about what to do with the building, the current prison from 1854,
which is looks like a castle.
It looks like a castle.
Yeah.
Again, one of those, being a transplant, I just remember driving down King Street. I was probably on my way to the outlets or something.
Sure.
As a college student, you don't know anything else about there's outlets. Okay, let's check.
There's a castle.
Yeah. And
it's a prison?
I just remember doing that double take. Like I'm driving, I'm like there's a castle right there. Like, why is there a castle in Lancaster City? So they're talking about what should we do. And I was shocked that the overwhelming opinion was like, well, we should tear it down. And because we need and again, I definitely won't begrudge anyone like affordable housing.
Sure. Oh yeah.
For sure. But I was just like, wait, our first thought is let's just tear that building down. I mean, how many cities can say, we have a castle?
We have a castle.
Do you have a castle? No, we have.
There's some historical significance there.
And do some people have negative memories if they spend time there?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And were your people hanged there, because it's a county prison for a long time until 1912. Yeah, there were. But I just think we're going to look back in 20 or 30 years like we did the urban renewal of the 1960s and go, oh my gosh, what were we thinking that we just wanted to put up something else?
Yep.
So we're already kind of starting that conversation for people to think about, like, I think again, I'm not saying we should save the whole prison, but like at the very least, like the facade. And a moment ago, they had a picture of the Marriott up, which I use as a
Watt and Shan building.
Yeah, the Watt and Shan building, which is a great example. Like, all right, we have this beautiful building. There was, again, took years, but like, let's save the facade. We'll put a hotel there. And it's busy downtown section. Really kind of anchors that portion of the city. So there's definitely those opportunities, I think, there to save a building like that has some really neat history. I think it could, at the very least, keep the facade. You could still have, hopefully some affordable housing attached to that. Because how cool would it be like, I live in a castle, man.
Right, exactly.
Like that'd be awesome, I think. So, or other things. I mean, they make, Eastern Penitentiary is a huge moneymaker with from all kinds of tours and things like that. So I think there's a lot of options there of things to do. So we're just trying to start that conversation now before it becomes dire and the county's like, or the county's like, we're tearing that building down tomorrow. So we still got years till we're there. Yeah. And so just trying to have those conversations about how do we find a happy compromise? Because we're definitely not opposed to, growth or people making money with companies, but how can we do it in a way that, people love Lancaster because we have lots of cool buildings and things that aren't just cinder blocks.
I just looked at the time, Adam. It's
wow, that was, you're right. You said it was going to fly and it did fly.
I mean, we could probably spend hours upon hours. And that's why I suggested future shows. I think it would be great to have you back and tell some more of Lancaster's stories. But I think it's really, really cool that you've taken the passion that you have for history and learning, and you've turned it into experiences that others can enjoy through Uncharted Lancaster, which, people can go on the Uncharted Lancaster website, find all the different tours and experiences. We didn't even get to talk about the scavenger hunt. We'll talk about that a little briefly. The books, you've poured your passion into the books, and then of course, pouring your experience and passion into the Historic Preservation Trust, saving buildings, basically saving history here in Lancaster. So I think that's very, very cool.
Yeah,
and,
me too.
Commend you for that. Let's talk about the scavenger hunt, because I think that's really cool. You're saying you gave away $16,000 worth of prizes over the years.
Yeah, like and dollar coins, because that's that feels very treasury.
So what is that all about?
So again, like I said, growing up in the '80s with those movies, and I just love the idea of buried treasure and searching for buried treasure, and kind of realized like that's probably never really going to happen. But I was like, I could hide treasure.
But you can make it happen.
Yeah, I could do it, and people could look for it. And so, for 5 of those years, I had these like multi-week, you're solving clues, and like there's a leaderboard, so you're registering your progress as you go, and I had like a leaderboard prize, so even if you didn't find the treasure first, you could still maybe win some prizes for having like the highest score on the scoreboard. Very kind of like Ready Player One, book movie meets like National Treasure, Goonies type of thing. And I just love to like incorporate local history. So 2 years ago, I did one about the Buzzard Gang, these legendary outlaws that like terrorized Lancaster County and beyond for like 40, 50 years.
Oh, well, I don't know anything about this.
Yeah, they lived up the Welsh Mountains, and a bunch of brothers, and then more guys, and just rob, jewelry stores and things like that. But just the premise of like, and there's always like, well, they didn't, all that money was never recovered. So you were kind of like looking for the lost, the treasure they'd left behind, and in the form of like this diary that he had left for his son, and it had clues to where the treasure was. And so that was a lot of fun. This May, I did a 1-day one for kind of part with Lancaster history, for the opening of the Stevens and Smith Center that they just opened. And that was like kind of a digital, but again, people were going to physical places and solving clues, and I gave away I think $1,000 on that day. A couple, there was 500 for first place, and
that's cool.
And so on. And I always like to do those treasure hunts. I teamed up with JBT, which is a local bank, and because they got me $5,000 in $1 coins. That's
awesome.
And I would
buy a literal treasure chest,
and I'd fill a little treasure chest from Amazon, like wooden one with coins. It just it's heavy. It looks like a legit thing.
And so you're putting this out somewhere on the day of like that somebody's going to find it. Like how does that work? So Pennsylvania has some interesting rules about that stuff. I was going to ask. So
games of skill are legal. Okay. Games of chance are not.
Yes.
So I couldn't legally. I mean, I guess I could, but not charge technically. But because I guess they're like, well, if you just stick it out in the woods, someone could just randomly find it, and then. So basically, there's kind of like there's the last clue out there, and like only people playing, because you have to like answer it.
You would have to come
and claim it. Or something with the coins. The cool thing is, I'm always like, all right, here's your 13-pound box of $1 coins. It's like $1,000 in there. I said, if you can keep the coins, or I can just give you $1,000 in cash, because then I don't have to like try and get the coins the next year. They always take the coins.
They always take the coins.
They always take the coins. Like, no, we'll take the coins. I'm like, all right.
That's
always. And I'm just like,
that's so cool.
I'm gonna have to get those coins again. Okay.
So you do this in the spring?
Typically in the spring, yeah. So the last 6 years, something in the spring. It's a lot of work. So I probably will move to more of like just the 1 day. Because it just ends up consuming like all 100% of my brain power for like months.
And on top of family stuff, on top of work stuff, all that. But it's got to be fun for you.
It is. It's a lot of fun. I wouldn't do it.
You're the game master, right? Like you're the.
And I'm always like, I would watch a movie and like, oh, that's a really good idea. Like I write, jot it down, or reading a book, or playing a video game or something. Keeping those ideas. Any
hints on what the next one is going to be?
That's no, only because I'm not sure yet. It's not like it's top secret.
We'd love to announce it.
Help
you announce it. Okay. Get the word out about it. Maybe I could participate. That'd be a lot of fun. I think we're going to transition into our connection cocktail, which ironically has some more historical questions on it or in it. We've only got like 5 minutes left. This is wild.
Yeah, time does fly.
What is your favorite spot in Lancaster County? You mentioned Shanks Ferry.
Yeah,
it was kind of like
I spent a lot of time there.
This off.
The petroglyphs there. They're only about a mile from Shanks Ferry. Is just amazing. Just to kind of touch on a different thing, we talked about Capitol Day and basically where the Soldier Sailor Monument is, and Congress met there. But I think an even neater event happened about 35 years earlier in 1744. So there is the what eventually be called the Treaty of Lancaster, the Great Treaty of Lancaster, 1744. And so hundreds of Native Americans from the Six Nations come to Lancaster to hold this conference with delegates from Pennsylvania, Virginia, and Maryland. And I'm sure it was a little frightening. Like there's only 1,500 people in Lancaster, so it's probably like 2 to 1. Like, well, there's a lot of people I don't know that are different than me living here, so I'm sure a little scary. But ultimately, this war is brewing, King George's War. Not a lot of people are all that familiar with it, but and they want the members of the Six Nations to kind of do 2 things. 1, give up some land claims for westward expansion, and 2, at the very least, not side with the French in this coming King George's War, or better yet, side with us. Well, that time we're the British colonies. The Iroquois are able to keep themselves out of the alliance, but they do agree not to side with the French. And on the last day of the convention, which is July 4th, 1744, this Onondaga leader named Conasatego gets up and gives a speech, and he says, especially since the Iroquois aren't going to join, he says, the colonies need to form their own confederacy like we have. And he pulls a single arrow from his quiver and he snaps it. And he goes, this is the colonies alone. You're weak. He pulls 6 arrows from his quiver and he can't break them.
Okay.
And he says, this is like the Six Nations. Together we're strong. He says, and if the colonies were to form their own confederacy, you would be a formidable opponent. You would be strong.
Wow.
So the speech is written down. Benjamin Franklin published it in his newspaper. Benjamin Franklin likes the idea so much he pushes for it at the Albany Convention 10 years later in 1754. That nothing really happens there, but we eventually really adopt the idea in the Declaration of Independence and then the Constitution.
Gotcha.
And we're still today reminded of Conasatego's words. If you look at the back of the $1 bill, there's the Great Seal.
Yeah.
And in the eagle's left talon is 13 arrows.
Okay.
Representing the 13 original colonies, but it's an homage to Conasatego's words in that hot July day in Lancaster about together we're stronger. And I think that's
fascinating.
Really cool.
Do you have any idea where that may have taken place in Lancaster?
It happened in the courthouse. So the same courthouse where the Continental Congress met, 35 years later. So
that's cool.
Basically right there where Soldier Sailor Monument is. So you can stand there and think Conasatego was up there trying to break those 6 arrows.
How would you possibly know that unless they're part of the Uncharted Lancaster world?
That's right. Yeah. So just an awesome, amazing story.
Love it. Very cool. What historical myth do you hear most often about Lancaster County?
So again, I'll go southern end here a little bit. We have this cave called Wind Cave. Some people call it Cold Cave. It's the largest tectonic cave in the Commonwealth. And so most caves are soluble. So water goes through them and the limestone dissolves. And so this is basically a fissure and the ground is just kind of opened up. And I always try and just squish that thought in my head that hopefully doesn't close back up while I'm in it. But it's like 2,000 feet of passages. And anytime I write about it, people are always like, you can take that cave and there's passages that go beneath the Susquehanna to the other side of York County. I mean, you're a couple hundred feet above the river and the river's at least a half mile, maybe 3/4 of a mile wide there. And I'm like, I doubt it.
Yeah.
I doubt it.
I wouldn't want to prove it wrong.
Right.
No. Prove it right. And yeah, it's not something I would want to do. If you could have witnessed one moment in Lancaster County firsthand, what would it have been?
So I would love to go back to the early 1900s, and Lancaster had this trolley system, and you could ride this hub and spoke.
Yep.
But specifically, this trip from like Millersville to Pequay, what they called the Pequay trolley, and apparently some people even got like seasick on it because it was such a rocky trolley. And it went to this today. It's really kind of think of it as like a 1-horse town. Pequay, but back then it was this huge tourist destination. Like the Poconos before the Poconos, and there was the Riverview Hotel, and people from like Philadelphia and New York and all over came to vacation.
That's wild because it's not like that at all.
No, it's like the Great Depression came and people like didn't vacation and travel, and then after that ended, people were going other places. So
like the beach,
like the beach. And so in this parallel universe, like Pequay is this like Lake Tahoe or Lake Placid or a Pocono place. And that's
interesting.
And I see old pictures. Like once you got there, you could ride a little miniature train, like so small that like you like rode on top of the car down to like the dance pavilion. I've seen pictures. I would love to like experience that once for myself.
Yeah. Well, maybe you could be part of a team that recreates.
Yeah. That would be awesome.
There you go. All right. Last question. America's 250th celebration this year. From your view, what makes America so great?
I'm going to go back to Conasatego's words. Like, when we work together, we're strong. Like, think about World War II. Like, we were all working together. We saved the world, right? The 60s, put a man on the moon. Like, with less, like NASA, and I tell my students all the time, NASA had less computing power. That's what's in your iPhone.
Yeah, right.
Like, all of NASA. Right. Like I said, if you could show up today and like, oh no, our computer crashed. You like, hold on, you just like plug your iPhone in and still play like a game on it.
Yeah.
And put a man on the moon.
They didn't have that.
Didn't have any of that. I said, so when it's so hard right now, we can't even agree on a common vocabulary.
Yeah.
So if when we all row in the same direction, like this country is capable of amazing
I love that.
things. So together we're stronger.
I love that. And who was the Indian?
Kanasatego, an Onondaga chief of one of the Six Nation tribes.
I think we could dedicate an entire episode to him.
Yeah, an amazing man.
Love it. All right, Adam, this has been fantastic.
It's been great. Yeah, thanks for having me.
60 minutes by just like that.
I don't know where it went.
So Uncharted Lancaster, is it unchartedlancaster.com?
Yep, or any of them. You could edit. Or net, they'll all go there. I own them up.
You've cornered the market on Uncharted Lancaster. Also, you're on Facebook, other social media channels. Just search up Uncharted Lancaster. See some tours, get some books, learn all about Lancaster history. I love it. This has been a lot of fun, and we're going to definitely have you back, Adam. So thank you for being on. And that's just about our show. I will just read a quick testimonial for Gardner's Mattress and More. We mentioned 830 Plaza Boulevard is where you can come in this week and get a free pillow.
Yeah.
Based on the wheel spin from Adam earlier today. Let's see, where's my supercomputer? Right?
Yeah,
we're just talking about. It's right here. Where's my photo app? So this was a review that came in on Google within the last week from a fellow named Jeremy. Jeremy just simply said, Gardner's is so friendly and professional to work with. Stand by their products, and I won't buy a mattress anywhere else. So Jeremy, thank you so much for your kind words and giving us the opportunity. Oh, thank you, Chris, for giving that a big all heart for us there. We appreciate, and we're always very humbled when, somebody trusts their sleep to us, but then takes some time out of their day to send us some kind words. So we appreciate that. And that's a wrap for this show. Again, Lancaster Connects, episode 259 on August 10th with Adam Zurn from Uncharted Lancaster. Adam, thanks so much for being a two-time guest on the show.
Thanks.
We'll have you back maybe in the spring to
for the hat trick.
About your hat trick. There's no special gift for a third time. Not yet, at least. But yeah, maybe you can announce or talk about the scavenger hunt for 2027.
Love it. Yeah.
Look forward to hearing all about it. So that's a wrap. Thanks for tuning in to Lancaster Connects. See you next Monday at 2:00. Have a great day.
Comments have exploded through the roof. So there you go.